Hey guys, welcome back to the Thisissoul Shop YouTube channel. Last weekend, me and my friend Eric and our girlfriends went to a weekend trip to Hamburg to the Xmas Jam. The Xmas Jam is traditionally a really traditional competition with the runs and the winner, and it's pretty serious. But this time, the crew that organizes it changed the whole concept and it was super fun. In this video, I'm gonna explain you what they did, why it was so good, and why you should feel inspired to do the same in your neighborhood. Normally, skate competitions are just waiting for a long time as an audience member for people to do their runs, and then in between there's always too much long of a break in between, and it gets kind of boring. And I noticed that over the years people are not really that motivated anymore to go to these type of traditional competitions. So that's why it was super refreshing to see that there was a crew now that changed this whole format. Basically what they did was they thought of a few different concepts, and all these concepts were super original and really out of the blue. We as an audience member had no idea what was coming. There were competitions like a high jump competition, an under the coping competition, a race, something where you had to jump through a weird shape to get to the other end, and a skate roulette. Let me explain you what all those means. If you think of what the goal is of a competition, it is maybe something like to bring people together that watch it and to create friendships afterwards from the people who were there, or to let people have a good time watching the competition, or maybe the goal can be that the riders competing in the competition have a good time. And with this competition format, all those things hit the nail on the head. Having a competition format like this is really fluid. So you can do all sorts of different games. You can do them as an organization exactly in the way that you want it to. And each iteration of the competition, so each year that you do it, you can include new elements and leave elements out, and just as an organization have a lot of fun with what it is that you're gonna do. In this competition, in the Xmas Jam in Hamburg, they had 7 formats. The first one is it's one of the most fun ones, because they decided to have like an official winner of the competition in a very non-traditional way. Normally you win the competition by winning the competition, and this one they handed out leaflets for people to vote who would win, and the votes were actually already withdrawn before the real competitions actually started. And also, like, the MC, the announcer of the competition, was also on it, and it was really stupid. There were a lot of stupid ideas, and that just made it really fun. They called it the skate canceller of Germany, if you want it. The first real competition was super interesting, because all they said was it's gonna be a half-pipe jam. So in Skateland Eipunkt in Hamburg, they have a really big vert ramp. It's like 4-meter high half-pipe, and traditionally a half-pipe competition is just airing and grinding, and it's all above the coping. But here they did something different. It was the under the coping competition. So when this competition started, people just assumed it was the normal thing, and then everybody just started to warm up a little bit, and suddenly the organization brought out a wooden board with a coping on it and a drill. They brought it up the halfpipe and drilled it in, And then they announced, you cannot go above this line. And underneath the board was upside down, there was a coping. So you could grind it upside down. The first person who grinded it also got the prize. And then later, once the first people started doing it, everybody kind of like got crazy. And in the end, people even did like flips to a grind and then land again. It was super cool. But maybe the most fun aspect of it was the surprise of the audience in like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, we kind of like expected more like a normal format, but in this competition, like the whole day, every time as an audience member, you got surprised by what was going on. The next part was the race. There was already a line drawn out on the skate park to make like a parkour. We didn't really know what those lines were until they announced the race, of course. The race was, you started with 3 people at the same time on a big quarter pipe. Then there would be a sound like dun, 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 boom. Then the first person could go. Then the sound was again, 3 seconds later, the second, and then 3 seconds later, the third person could go. The time measurement was 1 timer for each of the riders. And the timing started when you were at the bottom of the first quarter pipe. To make a competition fun like this, if you ever do something like this yourself, it's good to have different rounds within the same format. So what they did with the race is the first round was just the normal race, but the second round, they changed it up. So at the second round, you had to do actually tricks in the run. And the tricks were, you had to do a grind, a grab, and a 360. Then the third round, they made it even more fun because they once again surprised us by grabbing something from the back and carrying it in with the whole group of people. It was like a sort of setup with skates in a certain angle, and they had a whole bag of wheels, and you had to throw wheels in the skates. You had to throw 5 wheels, and for each wheel that you missed, you had to do a penalty grind. So when that round started, everybody skating really fast on the parkour. Then you had to stop, throw in 5 wheels. Then of course everybody misses all of them, do quick penalty grinds, and then boom, race again to the finish. That was super fun. Then the next round was just like, you had to skate the parkour as if it was a competition run. So you were allowed to do cool tricks, no practice, just first try, do a perfect competition run. And everybody's like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna do this now. And then the last finale race run was, they had to do an extra line, more complicated route, and also a part going fakie, so skating backwards. The next competition format was called Takeshi's Castle. And Takeshi Castle is an old school 80s Japanese television program where the contestants need to do all sorts of crazy stuff. And one of those crazy things in Takeshi Castle is that they need to jump in a lot of complicated shapes through a wall with that shape cut out. And so they made from cardboard first like a big circle that you need to jump through. And again, for us as spectators, we kind of like don't know what's going on, and suddenly they start building up this big cardboard wall and ask everybody to come, and everybody's like, what the fuck is happening? And all the contestants are also like wondering, what are we doing here? Then they announce what's going on. The announcer is Miguel, it's the same announcer as the winter class competition, so he's really good at this. And everybody starts just jumping through the big hole. And this competition also had different rounds. So every round was supposed to last 5 minutes. People went so quickly behind each other that they actually cut it down to 3 minutes. And each round, it got more and more complicated and more fun to watch. So the first thing was a big circle to jump through. And the second thing is they took off the bottom half of the circle and lowered it and made it a low grind competition. So You couldn't touch any of the cardboard. If you touched the cardboard, you couldn't continue to the next round. So then you were out. And you had to grind like something like, I don't know, 70 centimeters or something. Get really low and go underneath the cardboard. A lot of people fell and it was really fun to watch. The next shape was kind of like the shape of a banana. And especially for tall people like my friend Eric, who of course competed in the competition, it was really difficult. So hats off to Eric to pull it off, because he made like a perfect banana shape to go through the banana hole. And he was one of the contestants to go to the next round. So the next thing they did after that was they made the same banana shape, but then you had to jump through it. The next thing they did after that was like a complicated crane stance that you had to jump through. And after that, it was just a best trick competition. So jump through the hole and then do a complicated grind on the rail afterwards. The next competition format was Cash for Tricks. And this was maybe the most traditional aspect of this weird competition day. In the Cash for Tricks competition, people could just do a cool trick and they would get cash. It's simple like that. But the organization once again made it a lot of fun, because one of the organizers dressed up as an ATM machine and handed out the cash through the slot of the ATM machine. So at all times there was just like an ATM machine skating through the skate park. There was a round on a coping box, there was a round on a sub box, and there was a round where people could just do best tricks everywhere in the park. One of the things that makes organizing a competition kind of like difficult for organizers, and maybe also then for the people watching it, is that in between of the different parts of a competition, it takes some time for the organization to process what just happened and to prepare what's gonna happen. If you have an organization which is consistent of multiple teams, then you can easily overlap this. So then you have one competition format, and then afterwards the next competition format can start right away, in which the first competition, they can then have the time to process it while the other competition is already starting. This is a really smart way to make it more fun for spectators to watch, because it's really frustrating sometimes to wait like a half hour before the organizer finally ready to do the next part of the competition. And for the next part of this competition here in Hamburg, it was the Icarus high jump competition, and they asked their friends from Berlin to help out. So the guys from Berlin made this, well, actually pretty small launch box. It was kind of like a roll-in spine with a bar that you needed to jump over. When they first made it, they thought, and they tested it, they thought nobody could actually jump higher than something like 1.20 meters or something. But in the end, the competition, when it started, some guys like Eugen Ennen managed to jump over 2.50 meters. This is super high, and if you've seen the ramp, it's like I would probably have difficulty just riding the ramp and not jump. So congrats to those guys, it was super cool. The German guys from Berlin are called Le Soir, and they really dressed up this competition. That was also part of the fun, probably for them preparing it, but also for us as spectators watching it, because there was like a smoke screen. They had all special outfits on, they had special theme music during this competition. The lights were out, so it was like all dark in the entire skate park, and they had like disco lights going on and everything. It felt really as an experience being there. Eugen Ennen went so high that when he landed in the little ramp again, he kept making holes. And it was kind of like amazing for me to watch that these competitors still kept on jumping it, even though there were holes in the landing. And it was incredible how often they nearly really fell really hard. At some points I couldn't even watch it because it was so sketchy, but also like so much fun, and respect for everybody who made an attempt. The last part of this competition was the skate roulette. They had a big roulette wheel with cards on it, and on that card was kind of like an assignment of something that you needed to do. It's kind of like a game of skate. In 2008, the Allglad organization crew, that's their name, Allglad, took over the competition. This competition has been going since like the 90s, and in 2018 it was time for a new crew. This crew also goes by the name of Volcom Blading, and they have an Instagram page which is called Rollen Hamburg. Very confusing. So when they took over, they kept like the traditional runs and finals and semi-finals aspect of like a normal competition, but they already made it more fun by introducing this skate roulette. And this is how they kind of like got acquainted with this aspect of doing a competition, like a more fun way of organizing and more fun way for people to experience competitions as well. During the lockdown, they made like an alley cat race. So last year in the summer, I think, like during Corona times, alley cat races are another way of doing a non-traditional competition, which is actually a lot more fun to compete in, but also more fun to organize. The idea of the skate roulette is the wheel with the cards. You spin the wheel, and then every time you spin, you end up with just a card. And on those cards are crazy assignments. Like one of the assignments was grind, and then during your grind, take off your skate, and then land on one foot again. Another assignment was do the roll up on a scooter, and then jump off the scooter to a grind. So why am I saying all this to you guys? Now, obviously I want to share my fun experience with you, but I also hope that people watching this feel inspired to do something for their local communities as well. So I asked the guys from Volcom Blading what the process was to create something like this so that we can maybe copy it. And the answer was that they just meet every Monday, no matter what. If they can meet in person, then they do it on a digital Zoom type of meeting. And during that those meetings, they just talk a lot of shit, and they come up with a lot of really bad ideas. And then after that process, finally, after a long time, they scratch a lot of bad ideas, and then you come up with something like the Xmas Jam. Then, of course, you need to check out what it is that you need to really create those ideas, because they needed to build a lot of stuff. And then you need to get sponsors and then do the promotion. If you ever do something like this in your local hometown and you're searching for sponsors, you can always contact us from Thisissoul. We of course have one of the biggest skate shops in the world, and we're always happy to sponsor cool concepts. There are tens of thousands of crazy, stupid competition ideas that you can think of. Maybe you can do a roller hockey competition or a flat ground competition. Just get crazy. If you have cool concept ideas, please drop it in the comments. And then the last part that I want to say is we here in Amsterdam are definitely inspired to do something ourselves here as well. So if you want to help us set something up like this here in Amsterdam, please drop me a line, because we want to do something cool like this as well, and we need all the help that we can get. So that was it for this video. I hope you like it. We make a new video like this every week, so consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Really malleable. That it's a word. I think it's probably really fun. The guys from Volcom, probably I missed something. Let me check real quick.